Mr. Paris Fatnani has been working with QS for over 5 years, helping candidates across India, Middle East, and now the UK to connect directly with their dream university or business school around the world. He is currently a regional director at QS, and apart from being a part of the senior marketing leadership team, he works closely with Indian universities and business schools, consulting them on internationalization and global brand building strategies, leading towards his vision of creating a brand for education, a brand India for education. He has also led and been involved in various entrepreneurial ventures, including a digital marketing agency, an event management firm, and the latest where he has launched a brand called Honey Quicks, a food packaging innovation where they serve pure, 100% antibiotic-free honey in different flavors in single serves. He's also the ambassador for India at One Young World, a forum often referred to as Junior Davos, and a global ambassador for Project Chirag, an initiative to provide solar lighting to rural households in India that have no access to electricity. Academically, he is a chartered marketeer and has completed his MA in marketing communications on a full scholarship before he joined QS. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thanks, Deepika. Great to be here.
Our audiences look forward to your talks and sharing your experiences. Going local or global, how can management professionals work effectively and ambitiously? Let's talk with Mr. Paras Patnani to know about it. To start with the questions, can an MBA from overseas work effectively in an Indian business or economic scenario?
I totally believe so. As the world becomes a smaller place to do business in, I think it's the idea that Indian businesses are now doing more business internationally, and that skill set of dealing with cultures. I think what an international degree or an MBA would teach you most is how to deal with people of different cultures. And I think that as the country grows in its business environment, it's going to be a key skill. So I do believe that it will help having an international degree. And there are a lot of international businesses entering India who are now looking at cross-cultural work, or there'll be a lot of shift between interdepartmental exchange that will happen in skill sets too. So while a lot of candidates will come, or a lot of business leaders will come from abroad to India to work in India, I think there'll be a lot of advantage of Indian MBAs who've studied internationally who will get exposed to this as well. I can't hear you, sorry.
I'll repeat the question. Talking something about your work, with your high frequency of travel, how do you keep yourself charged up?
I think, one of the key things for me is about the people I work with. I think that helps your frame of mind and how clued up you are on things when you're traveling. Having an occasional break, I think, helps as well. What's worked really well is with my involvement with other ventures outside of my standard job, if I was to call it that. My mind's always looking at different things, so it does help. Keeping it agile and keeping moving with things. But yeah, I mean, a small break here and there, I would highly appreciate that when I do get it. Yeah, just a lot about the people. I think that gives you energy, and that's what keeps me going.
All right, that's good to know. All right, what part of your work excites you the most? Is it the student mobility, the number of applicants, or the networking?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's about all the students we meet across these events around the world, who have a similar aspiration, and their aspiration is to achieve something that they believe they want to do in the future. So to meet those kind of people, I think is a big plus. Um, you know, a bit about their perspectives of what life ahead looks like. It's quite exciting to see a prospect like that. Um, I mean, to me, I think personally, what excites me with what I'm doing is the vision of creating brand India in the education space globally. And I think that to me is a key objective that I'm working towards quite strongly, to see how Indian schools feature not only in the rankings, which has become a big point of conversation, but also in terms of perception, in terms of their the work that they do with international institutes and candidates as well. So I'm more focused towards that at current time as well.
All right. Uh, Talking a bit more about the Indian perspective, the UGC figures talk very differently about. We see very less diversity in Indian schools or Indian universities. And talking more specifically about these schools, we see the figures going down all the more. And with your vision in mind, education in India,
Mhm.
how do you think the story is building up, or is it going to get any momentum in future, in the near
So I
future?
think that's a very valid question. What's happening, and most particularly in the last 18 months, I would say, is that business schools in particular are at the forefront of this change. So I'm working very closely with a lot of top institutes that are traveling a lot more internationally, are are engaging in not just student exchanges, but partnerships to bring students on full-time courses in India. So I think it's not a overnight journey, and I think we've had a lot more learning in the last 18 months as a country and as education systems in India are today. Um, but there is a huge potential that we're working towards. So one of the things I'd be happy to mention here is we're in the process, and this is still quite to say work in progress. We're building a group, or an let's go specific. We're building an advisory board with leading professionals in business schools and universities in India to come together and as a group help in strategizing what with leading professionals in business schools and universities in India to come together and as a group help in strategizing what India. I think there's a to me, and I'm open to confess this, to me, a big misconception that I feel exists in the market in India, that you have to do an MBA once you graduate. Give yourself that time. I would suggest that will help you figure out what you really want to do in life, and use the MBA as your ladder to success, not as your your moment of discovery. I would say that's from an Indian perspective, it's an expensive proposition if you're looking to study abroad or at a top Indian business school. Give yourself some time, work for a couple of years before you take that leap to do an MBA. Um, Second would be, it's not just about academic learnings while you're doing an MBA. It's about how you build yourself into who you want to be. So invest in yourself, in your growth, in your progression by being involved in the different activities while you're in business school. So there are lots of clubs, there are lots of societies there. Join them, be active with that, and at the end of the day, it's an MBA is not just about where it takes you as a career. Um, as an individual, it'll help you grow. So use those opportunities, make the most of it. Don't get limited with your scope of what you believe in or what you want to do. Change is the only constant thing, and an MBA will facilitate that for you. So that would be my key advice.
Thank you so much. That is a lot of information and advices. That was great talking to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Cheers.